Within the silent depths of the Akashic records, the true nature of our soul's journey remains etched in timeless wisdom, revealing that the circumstances we face, especially the most challenging ones, are not random, but divinely chosen. These difficult family environments, often shrouded in hardship and conflict, are portals for profound spiritual growth, carefully selected before reincarnation to serve a higher purpose. The soul seeks balance through karma, awakening higher consciousness and the Christ consciousness, even amid suffering. As we unravel these mysteries, it becomes clear that beneath every adversity lies a sacred opportunity for transformation, a whisper from the divine, guiding us back to our eternal light and understanding our true purpose within the infinite expanse of the universe. In the silent chambers of the Akashic records, where the threads of all past, present, and future intertwine, the soul's journey unfolds like a sacred symphony played. Across the vast expanse of eternity, the records reveal that the soul, an eternal spark of divine consciousness, embarks upon its incarnational voyage with a purpose, an intricate plan woven with divine intention, crafted long before the soul's ascent into the earthly plane. It is here in this sacred repository of cosmic wisdom that the true nature of the soul's choosing becomes evident. The soul, as the records disclose, is not a passive traveler swept along by the currents of fate. No, it is an intentional architect of its own evolution, selecting circumstances, environments, and even familial dynamics to serve as catalysts for growth. This concept of divine selection may seem paradoxical to the earthly mind, which often perceives suffering as random or unjust. Yet the higher perspective, illuminated by the teachings of Cayce and the wisdom of the Akashic records, shows us that nothing is truly random, and everything is aligned with the soul's divine blueprint. As the records reveal, the soul's process of choosing its circumstances is deeply rooted in the principle of balance, or karma. Through countless incarnations, the soul seeks to resolve imbalances, to mend what has been broken, and to elevate its consciousness toward the divine. The challenges faced, be they hardship, conflict, or pain, are not punishments but opportunities for the soul to grow beyond its limitations. They are carefully selected lessons designed to awaken the soul's higher faculties, to unveil the Christ consciousness within. The soul's choice of specific life circumstances begins long before incarnation in the realm of higher consciousness, where divine intent guides the soul's planning. The records reveal that the soul in this realm consults the universal wisdom, seeking to understand what experiences are necessary for its evolution. It chooses environments that will serve as mirrors, reflecting back to it lessons that must be learned, wounds that need healing, or virtues that must be cultivated. This is a sacred act of divine sovereignty, an act of love and trust in the divine plan. In some cases, the soul opts for familial relationships fraught with discord and hardship, not out of a desire for suffering, but because these environments hold the potential for profound spiritual alchemy. Within such struggles, the soul finds the crucible for transformation. As Cayce's readings reveal, the soul seeks to master the lessons of forgiveness, compassion, patience, and unconditional love, virtues that serve as the foundation for the Christ consciousness. Every conflict, every heartbreak becomes a sacred portal for awakening higher consciousness. The records also emphasize that the soul's journey is not linear, nor is it confined solely to the physical realm. It is a multidimensional voyage through the planes of consciousness, bridging past, present, and future. The soul carries its karma and lessons from previous incarnations, which influence its current circumstances. Yet through free will and divine grace, the soul has the capacity to transcend even the most deeply ingrained patterns. It can choose to awaken, to remember its divine origin, and to align itself with the highest good. This process of choosing circumstances is akin to the soul planting seeds in the fertile soil of its karmic garden. Some seeds bear fruit quickly, offering immediate lessons and healing. Others lie dormant, awaiting the right conditions for growth. The soul understands that each experience, whether joyful or sorrowful, is an essential part of its evolution. It accepts these circumstances with faith, trusting that every challenge is a step toward divine harmony. The records also show that the soul's journey is guided by an inherent longing for unity with the divine, a desire to realize its true nature as an aspect of the divine Christ consciousness. This longing drives the soul to seek experiences that will awaken higher awareness. The hardships endured are, in truth, opportunities for the soul to shed illusions, to purify its consciousness, and to ascend beyond duality into the realm of divine harmony. Furthermore, the soul's selection of circumstances is intertwined with the collective evolution of humanity. Cayce's readings reveal that individual souls, in their pursuit of growth, contribute to the awakening of the collective consciousness. As each soul awakens to its divine potential, it radiates that light outward, igniting others and accelerating the spiritual evolution of the entire planet. In contemplating this divine blueprint, one recognizes that the apparent suffering and difficulty in life are but the surface of a sacred, intricate dance, where the divine and the human converge in perfect harmony. The soul, in its eternal quest, seeks to embody the consciousness of love, compassion, and forgiveness, knowing that through such states it moves closer to the divine. The challenges are not random accidents, but intentional opportunities, gifts of divine grace that propel the soul toward its ultimate purpose, union with the divine consciousness, and the realization of its highest potential. The records reveal that the true power lies in awareness, the conscious recognition that every circumstance has a divine origin and purpose. When the soul awakens to this truth, suffering diminishes and acceptance blossoms. The soul begins to see beyond the illusion of separation, understanding that it is an integral part of the divine tapestry, a thread woven with infinite love and wisdom. In the end, the journey of the soul, as illuminated by the Akashic records, is a sacred pilgrimage toward enlightenment. It is a conscious choosing of circumstances that serve as stepping stones toward the awakening of higher consciousness, the embodiment of Christ consciousness, and the return to divine unity. Every challenge, every hardship is a divine gift that enables the soul to transcend its limitations and step into the fullness of its eternal light. And in this sacred dance, the soul finds its home within the divine heart of all creation, eternally guided, eternally loved. In the vast and intricate tapestry of the cosmos, the soul's journey through incarnations is guided by divine intention, a sacred orchestration known to the wise through the records of Akasha. As we continue our exploration into the depths of spiritual understanding, we are called to examine a profound mystery. Why do some souls choose, before incarnation, to enter into relationships filled with challenge and difficulty, particularly within the familial sphere? The answer, as the readings reveal, is woven into the very purpose of the soul's divine quest for growth, balance, and eventual reunification with the divine consciousness. The soul, in its eternal quest for evolution, seeks to confront the aspects of itself that lie hidden in the subconscious: fear, anger, resentment, and unhealed wounds. These emotional and spiritual discordances are often encountered most intensely within the fabric of family relationships, those closest to us on the physical plane. The choice to incarnate into difficult family environments is not arbitrary, but rather a deliberate act of spiritual intention. As the records reveal, the soul seeks out these challenging circumstances because they serve as catalysts for profound transformation, providing opportunities to face karma directly and to accelerate its journey toward Christ consciousness. In the divine blueprint recorded within the Akashic records, it is written that every soul carries the accumulations of past experiences, both luminous and dark, that must be addressed for the soul to ascend. When a soul chooses a difficult family environment, it is, in essence, selecting a sacred classroom designed to mirror its own unresolved issues. These relationships serve as mirrors, reflecting back to the soul its own unhealed wounds and limiting beliefs. Through this reflective process, the soul is compelled to look inward and confront its shadow aspects, which, if left unexamined, would hinder its progress toward higher states of consciousness. The purpose of these challenging relationships extends beyond mere confrontation. They are the crucibles in which the soul's karma is refined. Karma, as the teachings of Cayce and the ancient wisdom affirm, is not punishment, but a divine system of balancing and correcting imbalances accumulated over many lifetimes. When the soul enters into relationships fraught with difficulty, it is not a coincidence, but a divine opportunity for atonement, a chance to clear the debts of past actions and to create new patterns aligned with divine love and understanding. The soul's choice to incarnate in such environments is also driven by the desire to develop compassion, patience, and unconditional love, traits essential on the path to Christ consciousness. These qualities are cultivated through the crucible of hardship, where the soul learns that true strength lies in surrender, forgiveness, and acceptance. The challenging family environment becomes a sacred school of the soul, compelling the individual to go beyond superficial understanding and to embrace the divine within all circumstances and relationships. Furthermore, the records reveal that these difficult relationships often serve as gateways to deeper spiritual awakening. When one faces the discord within family ties, the soul is prompted to explore the deeper layers of its consciousness, those that hold fears of abandonment, feelings of unworthiness, or the need for control. By confronting these aspects, the soul clears the way for the emergence of the Christ consciousness, the divine spark within each of us that recognizes the unity of all life. It is through this process of facing and integrating the shadows that the soul aligns more fully with divine love and begins to realize its true nature as a divine expression. It is also vital to understand that the soul, in its divine wisdom, does not choose these challenging circumstances out of a desire for suffering, but out of love, an unwavering commitment to growth and eventual reunion with the divine. As the teachings of Cayce illuminate, this journey is ultimately about awakening to the awareness that we are not separate from the divine, but are expressions of it, temporarily veiled by illusion and karma. The difficult relationships are thus intentionally crafted opportunities for the soul to break free from the illusions of separation and to remember its divine origins. In understanding the purpose behind these challenging family dynamics, we come to realize that forgiveness and compassion are the keys to transmuting karma and transcending the limitations of the material plane. Forgiveness does not mean condoning harmful actions, but recognizing the divine within each soul, seeing the lessons rather than the faults. It is the alchemical process that transforms pain into wisdom, separation into unity, and fear into love. The divine plan reveals that, in time, all souls will reach a state of divine harmony, where the lessons of difficult relationships have been integrated and the soul has achieved a higher level of consciousness. This is the journey of the soul, from the shadows of ignorance to the radiant light of Christ consciousness, guided by divine love and purpose. As we reflect on these sacred truths, it becomes clear that the challenging relationships we encounter are not accidents nor signs of divine neglect. They are, in fact, the sacred fires through which the soul is refined and prepared for its ultimate reunion with the divine. The records affirm that every soul is loved unconditionally and that every challenge is an opportunity for divine grace to unfold. In this sacred understanding, we are invited to see our own relationships, particularly those that test our patience and compassion, as divine opportunities for growth. The soul seeks balance, and through these trials, it learns that the only true power lies in the recognition of our divine nature. As Cayce's readings continually reveal, the journey inward, toward awareness, forgiveness, and love is the path to liberation, healing karma, and awakening to the eternal Christ within. Thus, dear seeker, remember that your challenging relationships are not punishment. They are divine gifts on the path of spiritual evolution. Through them, the soul is called to remember its divine origin and to step into the fullness of its Christed potential. The records whisper that the divine purpose is always love, and through love, all karma is transmuted, and the soul ascends toward its eternal home. In the silent corridors of the soul's eternal library, the records Akashic whisper truths that transcend the limitations of time and space. They reveal that every challenge, every hardship, and every wound that manifests within our earthly existence is intricately woven into the fabric of our soul's journey, a tapestry of lessons designed for our evolution. As we continue to explore the sacred depths of these divine revelations, it becomes essential to understand the profound role that karma plays in shaping our current struggles and the relentless pursuit of harmony that our souls seek through the lessons bestowed upon us. The records reveal that karma is not mere punishment or reward, but rather a divine law of balance and learning. It is the universal mechanic that guides the soul through the cycles of incarnation, ensuring that the soul's evolution aligns with its inherent divine purpose. Past actions, Thoughts, words, and deeds leave imprints within the record keepers, etched into the very fabric of the Akashic field. These imprints, in turn, influence the circumstances and relationships we encounter in this life. The soul, in its quest for wholeness, is often drawn into relationships and situations that reflect unresolved imbalances from previous incarnations. In understanding this sacred truth, it is vital to recognize that the struggles faced within challenging families are not arbitrary. They are the echoes of karmic debts. Seeking resolution. As the records reveal, the soul's journey is one of restoring harmony, balancing the scales of justice that have tipped in past lives. When a soul enters a family situation fraught with difficulty, it is often because there are lessons of forgiveness, compassion, and acceptance that must be learned for the soul to progress. These lessons are not imposed as punishment, but as opportunities for the soul to confront its shadows and to acknowledge the roots of its karma. The soul seeks to resolve these imbalances through conscious awareness and heartfelt forgiveness, both of oneself and others. The records emphasize that true healing occurs when the individual recognizes that the challenges are not random acts of fate, but are reflective of the soul's own choices and energies that have accumulated over lifetimes. In this recognition lies the key to transformation, the realization that the current struggles are sacred catalysts for growth, meant to awaken the divine consciousness that resides within. Indeed, the pursuit of harmony is a fundamental aspect of the soul's evolution. The soul, craving unity with its higher self and the Christ consciousness, seeks to shed the layers of karma that obscure its divine light. As the records reveal, the soul's ascension is a process of continual refinement, a journey toward unconditional love and universal compassion. It is through facing the consequences of past actions, embracing them with understanding and forgiveness, that the soul begins to dissolve the karmic patterns that hinder its progress. In this sacred process, the lessons learned serve as signposts along the soul's path. When the soul recognizes its own role in creating its circumstances, it gains the power to transform pain into wisdom. The records reveal that every hardship is an invitation to delve into self-awareness, to confront the unresolved aspects of the self, and to cultivate a state of inner balance. This balance, an alignment of mind, body, and spirit, is the very essence of the soul's pursuit of harmony. Moreover, the soul's journey is deeply interconnected with the consciousness of the Christ within, an innate divine presence that guides us toward unconditional love and universal understanding. The records reveal that by embodying the Christ consciousness, the soul aligns with the divine law of love, which dissolves karmic debts and restores harmony to the inner and outer worlds. It is in this divine alignment that the soul finds true liberation from the cycles of karma and reincarnation. Yet the path to harmony is not without its challenges. The records reveal that the soul's progress often requires patience, humility, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. As the soul awakens to its divine origin, it begins to see every difficulty as an opportunity for growth, a sacred lesson designed by divine wisdom. The more the soul embraces these lessons with an open heart, the more swiftly it moves toward the higher states of consciousness and reunification with the divine light within. In the depths of the records, it is written that the soul's pursuit of balance is ultimately a return to its original divine state, a state of unity with all that is. The karmic lessons serve as stepping stones that elevate the soul closer to its divine destiny, awakening it to the reality that it is not separate from the divine, but an integral expression of the eternal light. The struggles faced in this life, therefore, are not punishments, but sacred invitations to shed the illusions of separation and to realize the divine within. As we meditate upon these truths, we come to understand that the journey of the soul is an eternal dance of growth, healing, and awakening. The records reveal that every action, every thought, and every emotion leaves an imprint, shaping the destiny of the soul in its quest for harmony and enlightenment. The divine plan is always guiding us back to the unity we have forgotten, that divine love which is our true nature. In closing, remember that the soul's pursuit of balance is not merely about correcting past mistakes, but about awakening to the divine truth that has always been present within. Through conscious effort, forgiveness, and compassion, we align ourselves with the divine law of karma, transforming our struggles into sacred steps toward higher consciousness. The records reveal that in doing so, we not only heal ourselves, but also contribute to the collective awakening of all souls seeking their way home, back into the embrace of divine love and the Christ consciousness that illuminates the universe. In the silent depths of the records akashicos, where the soul's eternal story is inscribed in symbols of divine truth, there lies a profound understanding, one that reveals the sacred purpose behind the most challenging of earthly upbringings. As we continue our sacred journey of awakening, we come to see that adversity is not merely a cruel twist of fate, but a divine catalyst, a divine whisper urging the soul toward higher consciousness and the manifestation of the Christ consciousness within. The challenge, the hardship, and the seeming coldness of difficult circumstances are in truth the sacred tools through which the soul refines itself, elevates its vibrational state, and awakens to a deeper understanding of its divine origin. The records reveal that every soul incarnates with a divine blueprint, a spiritual intention woven into the fabric of its being. Some of these blueprints include lessons of compassion, forgiveness, humility, and unconditional love. Yet the pathways to these virtues are often veiled in trials designed to stir the dormant spiritual potential within. Thus, the difficult upbringings, whether marked by loss, neglect, conflict, or hardship, are not punishments but sacred opportunities for growth. They serve as the crucibles in which the soul's higher consciousness is forged. In the ancient civilizations, Atlantis among them, the beings of light understood that adversity awakens the latent Christ consciousness, the divine blueprint of divine love, compassion, and unity. Atlantis, a civilization of great spiritual achievement, eventually fell from grace not because of external forces alone, but because the collective consciousness forgot its divine nature. The fall was a reminder of the importance of aligning with the divine within, a lesson that even amidst apparent chaos, the opportunity for awakening remains. The records reveal that the soul imprisoned in difficult circumstances in this moment of Earth's evolution is often carrying forward the unresolved karmic patterns from such ancient civilizations, unfinished lessons from Atlantis, where the soul sought mastery of love and spiritual unity. Within these seemingly harsh environments, the soul seeks to awaken higher consciousness by confronting its shadow, those parts of itself it has disowned or neglected. These shadows, when faced with courage and awareness, become the gateways to transformation. As the soul faces rejection, abandonment, or hardship, it is given the opportunity to practice forgiveness, both of oneself and others. Forgiveness becomes the divine key that unlocks the prison of karmic entanglement, allowing the soul to transcend the cycle of suffering and step into the realm of divine love. The records teach us that forgiveness is not merely an act, but a state of consciousness, a reflection of the Christ within, an acknowledgement that all experiences are sacred and serve the soul's evolution. Moreover, adversity forces the soul to develop qualities that are essential for the awakening of Christ consciousness. Patience, resilience, humility, and compassion become internal virtues that elevate the vibrational frequency of the individual. In times of hardship, the soul reaches deep within, discovering the divine spark, the Christ consciousness, that has always been present but often obscured by the illusions of the material world. It is in the crucible of difficulty that this divine spark begins to shine brighter, illuminating the path towards spiritual awakening. The records reveal that the journey through hardship is also an invitation to remember our divine origins, our connection to the cosmic source of love and unity. When the soul awakens to the understanding that every challenge is an opportunity to align with divine will, it begins a sacred dialogue with its higher self. This dialogue is rooted in trust and surrender, recognizing that even in pain the divine plan unfolds perfectly. As the soul embraces its divine purpose, it begins to embody the consciousness of Christ, an awareness that all life is interconnected, sacred, and rooted in divine love. The process of awakening in difficult circumstances often involves a gradual unveiling of the divine within. Each moment of suffering becomes a sacred lesson that refines the soul's vibration, leading it toward the realization that the divine resides within, an eternal, unchanging light. The soul's journey through adversity is therefore a sacred dance with the divine, a dance that ultimately aims to restore harmony, balance, and unity within the individual, and by extension the collective consciousness of humanity. In the higher realms of understanding, we see that the soul's choice to incarnate in challenging environments is an act of profound spiritual courage. It signifies an intention to transform suffering into love, ignorance into wisdom, and separation into unity. The soul recognizes that through these trials, it can develop the Christ consciousness, a divine blueprint that embodies unconditional love, compassion, and forgiveness. The records reveal that this is the ultimate purpose of earthly incarnation, to return to the divine light by awakening the higher faculties of consciousness, and to bring that light into the world as an expression of divine love. In the end, the divine wisdom in difficult upbringings teaches us that the soul's most sacred work is to seek the divine within, to forgive, and to transcend the illusions of separation. As the soul awakens to its divine origin, it begins to radiate the Christ consciousness, the universal love that unites all aspects of creation. This awakening is not a distant goal, but a present reality, an eternal flame ignited within each heart that chooses to remember its divine nature. The records reveal that the journey of each soul, no matter the circumstances, is ultimately a sacred return to unity, an awakening to the divine light that has always been within. The challenges serve as divine initiations, guiding the soul toward mastery of love and consciousness, and preparing it for the glorious return to its divine home. For in truth, every difficult upbringing is a divine gift, a sacred opportunity to awaken higher consciousness and manifest the Christ within, illuminating the path for all to follow. And so the sacred mystery remains. In adversity, the divine seed is planted. In forgiveness, it blossoms. And in awakening, it shines forth as the eternal Christ consciousness, an everlasting testament to the divine purpose of our earthly journey. In the silent depths of the soul's journey, where the echoes of past lives and the whispers of the Akashic records intertwine, there lies an eternal truth. Awareness and forgiveness are the sacred keys that unlock the divine within every challenge faced. The records reveal that each hardship, each seemingly insurmountable trial is not merely a punishment or a random event, but a divine invitation to awaken to our true nature. As Edgar Cayce's readings illuminate, the path to healing and enlightenment is paved with conscious recognition of these divine lessons and the profound act of forgiveness, both of ourselves and others. In the vast sacred library of the Akashic records, it is written that the soul, prior to its incarnation, sets forth intentions to learn, to grow, and to evolve. These intentions often manifest as circumstances that seem difficult, even cruel. Yet within these circumstances resides a divine purpose, the opportunity for the soul to recognize its divine origin amidst the chaos of earthly experience. The soul's journey is one of continual awakening, an unfolding awareness of its divine light that has always existed, even in the darkest hours of suffering. The power of awareness, then, is the first step on this transformative journey. When we become conscious of the deeper meaning behind our pain, when we observe our struggles without judgment, we begin to see the divine hand guiding us. Cayce's teachings reveal that the mind, when focused with spiritual awareness, can transcend the illusions of separation and pain. It is through this conscious recognition that suffering begins to lose its power, no longer a punishment, but a sacred lesson. This recognition is not always easy. It requires humility and a willingness to look inward, to acknowledge the wounds and fears stored within the subconscious. Yet, as the records affirm, the soul seeks balance and harmony. When we bring awareness to our patterns, our karmic debts, and our unresolved conflicts, we activate the process of healing. This process aligns with Cayce's teachings on the importance of understanding karma, not as a punishment, but as a mirror reflecting our own growth and the opportunities for correction and self-realization. But awareness alone is not sufficient. The next vital step is forgiveness, the divine act that releases the soul from the chains of past grievances and misconceptions. Forgiveness is the alchemical process that transforms suffering into spiritual awakening. When we forgive others, and most importantly ourselves, we acknowledge that all beings are expressions of the divine, learning lessons in their own unique ways. The records reveal that harboring resentment or anger only perpetuates the cycle of pain, blocking the soul's progress towards enlightenment. Forgiveness, in its highest form, is an act of love, an acknowledgement that the divine within us is eternally connected to the divine within all others. Cayce's insights emphasize that true forgiveness is rooted in understanding and compassion, recognizing that the soul operates under the influence of its own karmic lessons. When we release judgments and condemnations, we free ourselves from the burden of negative karma, opening the door to healing and renewal. The journey of the soul, therefore, is one of conscious awareness and active forgiveness. As Cayce's readings reveal, these divine lessons serve as catalysts for spiritual awakening. They help us to see beyond the illusions of separateness and to recognize the Christ consciousness that resides within each of us, a divine spark that seeks to shine brightly through the darkness. In practice, this means cultivating mindfulness, being present in each moment with an open heart. It means acknowledging our pain without resistance, offering forgiveness where resentment has taken root, and choosing love over fear. The records declare that when the soul aligns its thoughts and feelings with the divine principles of love and forgiveness, it begins to restore its connection to its higher self and to the universal consciousness. This process is closely tied to the understanding of the Atlantean legacy, an ancient civilization that once embodied the highest potential of consciousness. When the soul awakens to its divine origin, it remembers its inherent unity with all life, dissolving the illusions of separation and duality. The awareness of this unity is the foundation of forgiveness, an acknowledgement that no wound is truly separate from divine love. As we deepen our awareness and cultivate forgiveness, we transform suffering into a sacred alchemy, turning pain into wisdom, wounds into compassion, and limitations into opportunities for growth. Cayce's teachings affirm that this is the path of the spiritual seeker, to recognize the divine lessons embedded in every circumstance and to embrace them with an open, forgiving heart. In the end, the soul's journey is a sacred pilgrimage back to its divine source, a return to the consciousness of love, unity, and Christ consciousness. Awareness and forgiveness are the guiding lights along this path, illuminating the way through darkness and leading us to the eternal truth, that we are children of the One, forever connected by the divine threads of love and light. Remember that the records reveal nothing is lost, and everything is held within the divine tapestry of existence. Every challenge, every pain, and every act of forgiveness is a step closer to the realization that we are divine beings, awakening to their inherent wholeness. The journey of consciousness is ongoing, and with each moment of awareness and each act of forgiveness, the soul steps further into its true nature, illuminated, healed, and free. As we continue this sacred journey through the veiled corridors of the soul's eternal voyage, it becomes imperative to recognize a profound truth that echoes through the ages, the indomitable light that dwells within each of us, an unquenchable flame that remains unwavering despite the shadows cast by life's trials and tribulations. The records reveal that even amidst the tumult of earthly hardships, the divine essence of the soul remains untouched, pristine in its divine origin, guiding us back to the universal source with unwavering certainty. In the depths of the Akashic records, it is written that the soul's true nature is an eternal spark of the divine and fragment of the Creator, imbued with the perfect light of unconditional love. This light, often referred to in the sacred teachings as the inner Christ, is not merely a symbolic concept but a tangible reality woven into the very fabric of our spiritual being. It is this luminous core that acts as the compass, guiding each soul through the labyrinth of karma, offering reassurance that no matter how dense the darkness appears, the divine spark remains luminous and alive within. The journey of the soul, as revealed by the esoteric insights of Cayce, is one of continual return, an ongoing process of awakening and remembrance. The soul incarnates into physical form to learn, to grow, and to elevate its consciousness. Yet at its core, it is always part of the divine unity. The hardships and challenges encountered in earthly life, ranging from familial struggles to personal suffering, are not punishments, but divine opportunities for the soul to recognize its divine nature. These experiences serve to peel away the illusion of separation, revealing that the light within is imperishable, resilient in its divine origin. It is vital to understand that the soul's divine nature is not diminished by the weight of karma or by the density of worldly circumstances. Instead, these experiences act as catalysts for awakening, stirring the dormant light, encouraging the soul to remember its eternal purpose. The records emphasize that every soul is endowed with an innate capacity for spiritual rebirth, an ongoing process of aligning oneself anew with the universal source through conscious recognition of one's divine essence. This recognition begins with an awareness that surpasses the material realm, a realization that the struggles faced are but reflections of the soul's temporary sojourn in a dense physical plane. The soul seeks through these challenges to attain a higher understanding, to purify its vibrations, and to rekindle the divine light that has always been present. As Cayce often suggested, the soul's true purpose is to evolve into greater harmony with the Christ consciousness, which resides within each being as an eternal flame, an unbreakable connection to the divine. The sacred teachings also reveal that the divine spark within is resilient, capable of withstanding the greatest of storms, for it is rooted in the eternal principle of love, an unassailable force that never ceases to guide us homeward. When the soul feels lost amidst life's chaos, it is precisely this inner light that beckons with gentle reassurance, reminding us that our true selves are eternal, divine, and unchanging. The soul's journey is, therefore, a process of awakening to this inner truth, shedding the illusions that obscure our divine origin. Moreover, the records indicate that understanding our true purpose is integral to rekindling this light. Our purpose is not born of material pursuits, but rooted in the divine intention of growth, service, and awakening to the universal consciousness that unites all life. Each incarnation, each challenge is a sacred chapter in this divine story, a story of rediscovery, of returning to the source from which all creation flows. In the midst of life's hardships, the soul's inherent divine nature acts as a beacon, illuminating the path back to the universal source. This light is not dependent on external circumstances, but is an internal, unassailable presence, a divine seed planted within, awaiting our conscious acknowledgement. As Cayce implied, the soul's true purpose encompasses the realization that we are eternal beings, temporarily veiled by the illusion of separation, yet fundamentally connected to the infinite. The path to this realization often involves deep introspection and forgiveness, both of ourselves and others, since the soul's development demands compassion and understanding. Through these acts, we align ourselves more closely with the divine light within, allowing it to shine brighter amidst the darkness. The process is sacred and personal, yet universal. In its essence, the recognition that our true divine nature is unaltered by external circumstances, and that this divine light is our eternal guide home. In conclusion, the soul's divine essence is an unbreakable, eternal light that perseveres through all hardships. It is a testament to the divine plan, a luminous thread woven into the fabric of our being, guiding us back to the source of all creation. The records reveal that understanding and embracing this inner light is the key to transcending the illusions of separation and suffering, leading us ever closer to the realization of our divine purpose. As we keep this sacred truth in our hearts, let us remember that no matter how dense the darkness, the light within remains untouched, eternal and unwavering. It is the divine promise that beckons each of us homeward, to the infinite love and unity that is our true nature, a love that never ceases, a light that never dims, guiding us through every incarnation toward the ultimate reunion with the universal source. Remember, dear soul, that within you lies an unquenchable divine light, an eternal spark of the Creator that remains steadfast through every trial, every hardship, and every challenge you face. The records reveal that this sacred flame is your true essence, guiding you back to your divine origin and awakening the Christ consciousness within. Your journey is not one of suffering, but of sacred awakening, a divine dance of love and growth designed to restore harmony and unity. Embrace this truth with courage and compassion, knowing that every difficulty is a divine invitation to remember your divine nature and to manifest love's eternal power. I invite you now, Share your insights, subscribe to continue your sacred journey, and share this message with others, so we may all awaken to the divine light that unites us all in love's eternal embrace.